there, my name is Kelly Dell with offthebeadedpath Thanks so much for joining me for week 2 of our summer bead along for the Batcycle. If you missed week 1, we will link below in that video description box a direct link to last week's video, which teaches you how to make the triangles that you will need for the project. So this is week 2. We are moving on to what is called a warped hexagon. So if you've already looked through your information packet from last week, and again, I'll put a link directly below, looking on page 6 is where she starts talking about the warped hexagons. So for our warped hexagons, we need 7 colors of delicate beads. This is really going to help us understand the way that it's put together, and it's going to make it easier for you to see as well. So the delicates we're going to be using are size 11, and again, we're going to use 7 colors because she says warped hexagons are easiest to understand in beads when each of the 6 quadrants that we're going to have in the hexagon are beaded in a different color. So if you look on this example here, you'll notice she has one main color. That's what I call the spine color. And then she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different colors. So I've already got one made here so that you can see. So here I have a pink, a blue, a green. And when I flip it around, I have a purple, a yellow, and an orange. So that is what it looks like, what we're making today. It is almost a double-sided triangle, except for it's connected in the middle. And if you notice there, it has an open V shape like this. So it takes a little while longer to make one of these, but it's really fun to play with it and see it come together. So you can see here I've used the black. That is what I'm calling my spine color in this one, and then my 6 colors. So that's what we're going to learn how to make today. If you look on page 7 of your pattern, you do have another direct clickable link in the pattern. If you look here, this is another wonderful illustration by Julia Prettle that will show you step by step in animation video form how to make this warped triangle. Now I'm also going to show you today, but this is wonderful. So you can either try to click on the link if you're looking at this on a computer or a tablet, or your phone. If you have a printed copy, you can go to the YouTube and go to the Contemporary Geometric Beadwork YouTube page. And again, we'll put direct links below in the video description, and it will take you to the video. You'll be able to find it on their page. So let's go ahead, get needle and thread together. Needle, I'm going to use a size 12. My thread, it is going to take a little bit over 2 yards to do this piece. So I do like 2.5, 2.25 yards. And I still have enough thread left that I can go back and I can do the next steps, which we're going to go over next week, which is preparing all of these pieces to be put together. So I have enough thread left doing that I can add or do that next step. But if you're not comfortable with that, just do 2 yards or whatever you need to do and add thread as needed. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is a closer look at what we're going to be making today. You can see here we have an opening here. We have 3 sides. We have a connection, and then we have 3 sides here. So your piece is very 3-dimensional. And if you look on page 9 of your pattern, you will see all the different ways that this piece can be flexed and transformed into. So she shows you the flat taco, which is the form that it's in now. She shows you another side of that. She shows you a different way you can turn it, another way to turn it. So she shows you like a podcast form. So she shows you all these different ways that you can rotate the pod or your little warped hexagon, because you can take it and now it's like this. You can do it like this. I mean, there's all different ways that you can flip and you can work this piece. So you'll notice here again, we need our 6 colors. The one thing different that I'm going to be demoing here on this one is I actually want this one, because I know you're going to have a hard time seeing the black. I'm changing this color to white so that way you can see it. Now I have all of my pieces done already, and I basically just want to show you. And see, here's your podcast form. So there's all these different ways that you can twist and you can turn this and you can get the different colors together that you want. Your biggest thing, like for me, I have all of mine worked out to where I have turquoise, green, and pink. So I kind of you kind of have to work and move everything around so that you can kind of get that look that we're going for. And you can sit and you can work, and I can get this into position. It just takes some maneuvering to get everything where we want it to be. So see, look at that taco form there. So there's all different ways that we can flip this and we can get this to where our beads are where we need them. Now you'll also notice I still have my threads attached. I want to keep all my threads together so that on next week I can show you what we need to do to prepare these pieces to actually be put together. But today we're going to work on that warped hexagon. So to start our warped hexagon, we are putting on 6 of our spine beads. Okay, so this is going to be the color here where I have the black. So, got my 6 beads. I'm going to bring them down, and I'm going to leave a long enough tail that I can pass through a few beads. Now, do not go through all 6 beads again. We only want to go through the first bead again, and you will understand why here in just a minute as we start to work. So just using this same color, we are going to pick up 2 beads, and we are going to go through the very next bead. We're not skipping anything. So what's going to happen, ultimately, if we pulled this tightly, these beads would sit just like this. But this round is going to get very, very loose, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to pick up 2 of that same color and go through the very next bead in the circle. Pick up 2 beads, go through the next bead in the circle, 2 beads, go through the very next bead, and right now, I know it's frustrating, but we cannot get rid of that tail thread yet, and you will see why. Pick up 2 and come through the next bead. Pick up 2 and come through the next bead. So when I pull this, and it's okay if it loosens up. So right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 sets of 2. So from where I'm coming out, I'm going to pass through my first bead of that first set of 2 beads. I'm going to thread on 2 and pass down through the very next bead. Now this is where our first color bead is going to come into place. So this is my first color that I'm going to pick up. So I pick it up, I skip this lower bead here, and I come through the first bead of the next set of 2. Pick up 2 of my whites here, and I'm going to come through the very next bead. I'm not skipping anything, because these are basically going to be little herringbone increases. Now I'll pick up my next color, which is this turquoise. So then I'll skip this little lower bead here, and I will come through the first bead of the next set of 2. And then I will pick up 2 beads and come through the very next bead. I'm not skipping anything. And then through my next color bead here, skip this lower one, and then come through the first bead of the set of 2. Pick up 2 beads, come through the next bead, pick up 1 bead, skip the lower bead here, and then come through the next bead. I've got 2 of my white beads. I'm going to go through the very next bead here. And then my next color. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors here. So I skip the 1 bead and go through the next bead. Be careful not to get your thread caught there. Now it's 2 of my white, and I go through the very next bead. And then a color. And again, I skip the lower bead here, and I come through the very next bead. So this is the first bead of the round, the previous round, and then I have to step up. So I step up by coming through the first bead right next to it. It's the first bead of the set of 2 that I just added. So right now, honestly, this looks like a hot mess, all right? Don't worry, because we are going to pull this thread in a minute, and it's going to tighten everything up, and you're going to have like a little 2-sided taco triangle. So after this row, everything will start to look better. And don't try to keep it tight. I tried and tried. My first couple of ones of these I did. I tried to keep it tight, and I just fought and fought and fought against myself. So 2 beads, and I'm going to come down through the very next bead there. And we want them to kind of sit on top of each other. Now I'm back to my color 1 here. So I pick up 1, and I go through 1 that's sticking up. And then I pick up 1, and I come through the next bead sticking up, which is going to be the first bead of the set of 2 white beads there. So now I pick up 2 of my white beads. I come through the very next bead here. And now I'm to my second color. So I'm going to pick up a turquoise and come through the turquoise. And then I'll pick up another turquoise and come through the first bead of my set of 2. Now pick up 2 white beads, come down through the very next bead. So again, I'm not skipping anything. I'm going to pick up a pink, come through my pink, and then pick up a pink and come through the first bead of my set of 2 beads here. Oh, it helps to have a bead on there. It must have fallen off. There we go. So now 2 beads, come down through the very next one. And then pick up a bead, come through, pick up a bead, come through. Now 2 of the white beads, come through. And now my next color, this is color number 5. And then 2 beads, come through. And now the last colors, which is color number 6. So there's my first one. And now here's my second one. So on my second one, I still skip a bead and go through, which is going to be that first bead of my set of 2. But now I have to step up, so I'm actually coming through 2 beads at one time. So you can see there, those 2 beads are the ones I'm going to go through, and I pull. So now everything looks equal. And now I want you to watch what happens. I'm going to pull this thread, and now this pulls everything into a little triangle, just like this. And now we're ready to start the next row, all because we pulled that tightly. Now that we have it in our little triangle here, we are ready to continue to work. But now, instead of working in a circle like we were, we're going to be working down one side here and then up the other side. We're constantly going to have to be moving this in our hands. So when we come to a corner here that has our corner beads, we always pick up our 2 beads and come down through the very next bead. Then we'll take our color 1, thread on 1, pass through the one sticking up, thread on another one, and pass through the next one, and then thread on a third one, and we come through our end bead sticking up here. Now we are at a corner, so we pick up 2 of our white beads, and we come through the very next bead. Now I can flip it like this so it's easier to work. So I pick up 1 of my color 2 and I come through the first one sticking up. I pick up the next bead and go through. And then I'm going to pick up 1 more of that color and go through the last bead on the row. And you'll see here I'm at a corner, so I pick up 2 and I go through the very next bead there. And again, I can turn it to whatever way is going to be most comfortable for me to work. I'm at the next color, so now I pick up that color. So you notice on this row, we are going to have 3 of each of our colors. We're adding 3. So what this means is that for each side, I have 1 bead sticking up of my white beads here, 3 main colors and 1 white bead when I finish the row. So this side now has 5 beads sticking up. So I pick up my 2 and come down through the very next one. And it is going to be such a major pain, but you do not want to do anything with this tail thread until you are almost completely done with this piece, because as you work, that center may loosen up and you got to have this to pull it a little tighter. So we want to make sure that you do not get rid of that tail thread yet. So I'm going to work down this side, and you notice that each time I do it, I just turn it to what is easiest, or what direction is easiest for me to work in. So if it's easiest for you to maybe work in an upward motion or something like that, just flip it whichever way is good for you. Just make sure that you're continuing around in the quote unquote circle as we go. You've got to follow the lines of what you've got. So now this way, and we're going to come down this row. Okay, and then I'm almost back to my beginning side. I'm coming around to that last color. I always know when I get to the purple, for me personally, when I get to that purple, that is the side that when I add that last purple bead, that's when I'm going to do the step up on every single row. So whatever that 6th color is going to be the side that you are going to do your step up. So I'm adding that last bead for the row. If I turn it up this way so I can see, I'm going to do the skip 1, which is my lower one here, and then I'll go through the last bead of the row, which is this bead, and then I will step up through the first bead of the row. So I'm going to go through just like this. So through 1 and 2, like that, and pull this through, so that now I've done my step up, and every side of my piece now has 5 beads on it. So I'm going to continue to add beads just like I've been doing until I finish the last round. Oh, let me grab it here. And so I'm going to use this side for an example. When you finish the last row of beads, you'll know you're there because you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you're going to have 12 beads across. Once you have those 12 beads sticking up on each side, so you've got 10 of a color and then a black on each end, then you know you have your piece finished and you can get rid of this short tail now. But before you do that, you want to make sure to follow your beads here along this center line, this line of 6 beads that you had, and you want to make sure that that is pulled tight together. And once you're happy with it, then you are going to just take your needle and run through beads in different directions. It's one of those, it doesn't matter how you do it as long as you don't see the thread. But we are going to kind of lock this thread in place so that we can get rid of the excess. So it does not matter what color you come off to do this of, just wherever's closest to you, and you're just going to pass through. And any other threads that you have, when we're done working with those threads, you'll do this as well. You'll just pass through different beads in several different directions there, making sure that you don't get threads or see threads anywhere. and then we can trim off the excess, so that now we have our finished piece. Now I have left the little tail thread on here because what we have to do at this point is we have to make 6 identical triangles. Okay, now ask me how I know, but you want to be very careful with all your threads. You may want to take a little piece of paper and wrap them around. Just don't leave these together with their threads and, you know, just laying there. You're going to come up with a big tangled mess. Again, ask me how I know. So we need 6 of these to prepare ourselves for next week's part of the video. Okay, friends, so you now have your homework for this week, which is to make 6 of these warped hexagons. And then in next week's video, we're going to talk about how to prepare our pieces for connection. And we may get those warped hexagons connected into what's called a bathedra. So I know I'm throwing all these new terms at you and all this, but we are learning lots of new lingo with our Batcycle. So again, I have put all the links that you need below in that video description box, which is a link to last week's video if you did not see that. A link to the pattern, a link to the demo of Julia Prettle doing this demo in an animation form, and there are a few other links there as well. So all the material that you need to figure out how to do, what to do, all of the things are in that video description box below. So good luck with your homework next week, and we'll be back next week with part 3 of our Batcycle.